Welcome, dear listeners, to a land of magic and wonder, where legends are born and friendships are stronger than fear. Today, we journey to the enchanted forest of the north, a place where whispers of mystery dance among the trees, and a magnificent dragon awaits. But this dragon is not what the world believes, for within his sparkling scales lies a truth long forgotten. Join us now, as we follow the brave boy Erik, whose courage shines brighter than fire, in the magical tale of the Dragon of the North. In the heart of the enchanted forest, where beams of sunlight danced like playful fairies, there lived a dragon named Fafnir. His scales shimmered like emeralds and rubies, glowing brightly with every breath he took. Though he was magnificent, the villagers nearby whispered dark stories about him. They spoke of fire and fear, saying he destroyed fields and frightened travelers. Children were warned never to wander into the forest's edge, for the dragon was said to be cruel. Yet the forest itself seemed calm, its birds singing sweet melodies under his watch. Fafnir's truth remained hidden, waiting for someone brave enough to uncover it. Among the villagers lived a young boy named Erik, whose heart sparkled with curiosity. Unlike the others, he did not tremble when he heard the dragon's name. Instead, his eyes lit up with wonder, eager to learn the truth of the great beast. While fetching water from the well one morning, he heard an elder speak of Fafnir differently. The old man told stories of kindness, bravery, and a wise owl who was once Fafnir's friend. Erik felt a fire awaken in his chest, urging him to seek answers. For he believed that legends often hid truths behind veils of fear. That very night, Erik made a decision that would change his life forever. He packed a small bag filled with bread, berries, and a flask of water. His mother kissed him good night, not knowing he would rise before dawn with determination in his eyes. He promised himself that he would meet Fafnir and return with the truth. The forest's shadows seemed daunting, but Erik's courage was brighter than fear. If the dragon is truly kind, then he deserves a friend, Erik whispered to himself. With a final glance at his village, he stepped into the unknown path of adventure. The forest greeted him with whispers and songs only the brave could hear. Leaves rustled like voices sharing secrets, and the wind carried faint laughter of unseen fairies. A squirrel darted across his path, showing him boldness in tiny steps. A deer appeared silently, teaching patience with its careful movements. Erik felt as though the forest itself was guiding him, testing his courage along the way. Every step held a lesson, every rustle told a story, and every shadow carried a mystery. Though fear occasionally tugged at him, wonder always pulled him forward stronger. As Erik walked further, the trees grew taller and darker, weaving a canopy that blocked the sun. Strange glowing mushrooms lit his way, painting the ground with blue light. He followed a narrow trail, carved as though meant for only the bravest of hearts. The sound of an owl's hoot echoed, reassuring him of unseen guardians nearby. His small feet carried him deeper, step by step, into the heart of enchantment. Though the forest seemed endless, Erik's determination made him feel unstoppable. At last, he noticed a clearing ahead, glowing brighter than the rest of the woods. The trees opened like curtains revealing a stage, and in the center lay Fafnir's lair. There were no bones, no ashes, and no signs of terror as the villagers described. Instead, flowers bloomed freely, butterflies danced, and the air smelled of honeyed blossoms. At the very heart of the clearing rested Fafnir, magnificent and calm. His scales glimmered like jewels, reflecting sunlight into rainbows across the ground. Erik's breath caught, torn between awe and nervousness, but courage steadied his steps. Gathering all his bravery, he called softly, "Hello, Fafnir." To Erik's amazement, the dragon did not roar nor breathe fire. Instead, a warm chuckle rumbled from his chest, echoing like gentle thunder. "Welcome, young one," Fafnir said, his voice both mighty and soothing. His eyes, ancient and wise, studied Erik with surprising kindness. "I have been waiting for you, Erik," the dragon continued, as though destiny had guided their meeting. The boy's heart skipped, yet he felt no fear, only wonder. For in that moment, he realized the stories of terror had been nothing but shadows of truth. Fafnir began to share stories long buried by time. He told of days when dragons and humans lived side by side as allies. He spoke of the wise owl who once counseled him, teaching balance and kindness. Long ago, he had saved the village from a terrible flood, yet his actions were misunderstood. Villagers, seeing his fiery breath, believed he caused destruction rather than protection. Over the years, fear grew like weeds, twisting kindness into myths of cruelty. "Misunderstanding can be as dangerous as any storm," Fafnir explained with sadness. Erik listened carefully, his heart swelling with compassion and courage. "You are not a monster, Fafnir," he declared firmly, his voice carrying surprising strength. "I will tell the villagers the truth and make them see what I have seen." The dragon's eyes softened, glowing with respect for the young boy's bravery. "Few have the courage to seek truth when fear blinds their eyes," Fafnir replied. He lowered his great head gently, allowing Erik to touch his jeweled scales. With that touch, a bond of trust and friendship was sealed forever. As the sun dipped low, Erik knew it was time to return to his people. His steps back through the forest felt lighter, as though every creature wished him well. He rehearsed the words he would say, shaping his story with care and honesty. The forest no longer seemed frightening but alive with endless wonder. Soon, the village roofs appeared through the trees, smoke rising from chimneys like greeting signals. Erik's heart pounded with anticipation of telling the truth. His journey had changed him, and now he carried both courage and wisdom. When Erik arrived, the villagers noticed his glowing expression. Curiosity drew them closer, for he carried the look of someone who had touched magic. He called everyone together at the village square beneath the glowing lanterns. Mothers hushed their children, elders leaned forward, and even the bravest men listened closely. Erik spoke of Fafnir, of the peaceful clearing, and of the dragon's gentle words. Many scoffed at first, whispering doubts, but his sincerity shone brighter than skepticism. Each word became a key unlocking their hearts, slowly replacing fear with wonder. Though disbelief lingered, something new began to stir among the people. Children tugged at their parents, begging to see the magical clearing for themselves. Elders remembered faint fragments of tales where dragons once helped mankind. Slowly, tiny sparks of curiosity spread, just as Erik had hoped. "Perhaps we have judged too quickly," one villager admitted, scratching his beard. Others nodded, unsure but willing to consider the boy's words. Like seeds planted in rich soil, Erik's story began to grow into hope. The next day, Erik guided a small group to the forest's edge. Hearts raced, feet hesitated, yet his courage inspired them forward. Birds chirped cheerfully as though welcoming the newcomers into harmony. When they reached the clearing, gasps filled the air at the sight of Fafnir's beauty. The dragon lowered his mighty head and greeted them kindly without a trace of anger. Eyes widened in amazement as villagers realized the truth themselves. Fear melted into respect, and respect soon blossomed into awe. In the weeks that followed, more villagers ventured into the enchanted forest. They saw wonders they had once dismissed as bedtime stories. Children played by streams where magical fish leaped in sparkling patterns. Elders sat beneath ancient trees, listening to the whispers of leaves like old friends. Fafnir no longer hid, for he had become the forest's guardian openly. His presence brought safety, his wisdom guided harmony, and his kindness restored trust. The bond between humans and nature grew stronger than ever before. Erik became a bridge between the two worlds, a voice for understanding. He led groups through the forest, teaching them lessons he had learned. He showed them how boldness and patience could uncover hidden truths. His friendship with Fafnir became the heart of every tale he told. The villagers began to see him not as a child but as a leader of hope. His bravery had sown a new era of peace, one built on trust. Even the forest seemed to sing brighter whenever Erik entered its depths. Days turned into months, and the village transformed with harmony. Fear no longer chained hearts, and laughter echoed from every corner. Children sang songs of dragons and heroes, their words sweet like honey. Farmers worked with ease, knowing Fafnir kept storms and dangers away. At night, villagers gathered under the stars, sharing stories of courage and truth. Erik often sat by the fire, retelling his first meeting with the dragon. Each time, eyes sparkled, and smiles blossomed with renewed wonder. One day, the village declared a festival in honor of their bond with the forest. Bright banners waved, music filled the air, and tables overflowed with feasts. Children dressed as tiny dragons, flapping wings made of colorful cloth. Elders told tales of bravery, weaving Erik and Fafnir into songs of legend. When Fafnir appeared at the forest's edge, cheers rose like thunder. He bowed gracefully, his scales shining brighter than the lanterns. The festival became a tradition, celebrated year after year with joy. Fafnir shared wisdom freely with those who would listen. He taught patience, kindness, and respect for every living thing. His stories reminded the villagers that even mistakes could bloom into learning. The greatest strength, he said, is not in fire but in understanding. Children especially loved sitting near his wings, listening wide-eyed to his tales. Each lesson planted seeds of wisdom that grew into values of love. The dragon was no longer a legend of fear but a teacher of harmony. As years passed, Erik grew taller, his voice stronger, yet his heart remained humble. He never forgot the bravery of that first step into the forest. His bond with Fafnir deepened, built on trust, loyalty, and respect. Together, they ensured peace between the village and the magical woods. Erik became known not only as a hero but as a wise guide. Children often asked him, "How did you find the courage?" and he always smiled softly. "By listening to my heart," he answered, "and seeking truth beyond fear." Fafnir often gazed at Erik with pride, as if he were his own kin. "You are proof that bravery lives in the purest hearts," he told him often. He knew that through Erik, his story would live far beyond his lifetime. Together, they walked the forest paths, guardians of a bond unbreakable. The dragon's presence no longer startled birds or beasts but welcomed them. Villagers no longer saw a monster but a shining protector. The north itself glowed brighter under the care of dragon and boy. One winter, Fafnir gifted Erik a single scale from his glittering chest. It shimmered with colors of dawn, carrying magic and everlasting light. "This will remind you of our friendship, even when skies grow dark," he said. Erik treasured it, wearing it as a pendant close to his heart always. Villagers who saw it felt comfort, knowing the bond was eternal. The gift symbolized more than trust, it was a promise of protection. It was proof that fear could turn into the strongest friendship of all. On quiet evenings, Fafnir would lift his mighty head to the stars. He sang in a voice that blended with the wind and rustling leaves. The melody spoke of peace, courage, and harmony between worlds. Villagers gathered silently, listening in awe to the dragon's song. Children fell asleep to its lullaby, dreaming of magical adventures. Erik often joined in, humming softly, his heart soaring with joy. Together, their voices created a harmony that echoed through the north. Seasons changed, snow blanketing the village and then melting to spring. Time flowed like a river, carrying both challenges and blessings. Yet the bond between humans, dragon, and forest never broke. The village flourished, stronger than it had ever been before. Stories of Fafnir spread far and wide, bringing travelers eager to learn. Erik always welcomed them, teaching the power of understanding and trust. What once was fear had blossomed into a legend of love. Erik grew old, but his heart remained forever young. Children of the village became the new keepers of his story. They ran through the fields, playing dragon and hero with joyful laughter. Fafnir too grew older, yet his wisdom never dimmed. Their friendship became a beacon shining through generations. Songs of the dragon and the boy were sung at every festival. The legend lived on, not in fear, but in everlasting harmony. And so, the story of Erik and Fafnir became the tale of the North. It was a reminder that courage is born not from strength but from love. That fear can be transformed into friendship with understanding and trust. That even the mightiest dragon can carry the gentlest heart inside. Children grew up believing that kindness was the greatest treasure of all. The forest remained alive with laughter, harmony, and magic forevermore. And the dragon of the north became not a monster, but a friend eternal. And so, the bond between Erik and Fafnir, the mighty dragon of the north, lived on in the hearts of all who listened. What began as fear grew into trust, and what was once a tale of terror became a song of harmony. Remember, children, true bravery is not about fighting monsters, but about seeking the truth beyond shadows. The greatest magic lies in kindness, understanding, and the courage to believe. Until we meet again on another adventure, may your dreams be filled with wonder, laughter, and light.